Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Instantly 20. I'm Ash.
And I'm Keely.
And you're listening to our 18 verse 23 episode.
Okay, guys, so today's episode's going to be all about just the differences and things we've noticed between our teenage years and now. Obviously, it's been like
Were you about to say 500 years?
It's been 500 years. No,
It feels like 500.
it does. It's been 5 years since we left high school, and I feel like a lot's happened in that time. We've gone through a lot of growth, change, dramatic lockdowns. There's just been a lot of things that's happened since then, so we just thought it'd be interesting to touch base on that and just like compare the differences.
We've both sort of noticed within like the last year or so, we've been really talking about the difference between our teenage selves, our young adult selves. You know how they say you aren't an actual adult till you turn 20?
They say 25 because the frontal lobe develops at 25.
What does that even mean?
I don't know why I'm laughing.
All right, we're going to get a quick biology lesson from Keely. What does that even mean?
To be fair, I don't really know that much about it, but your frontal lobe is a region of your brain, and they say that it doesn't actually fully develop until you're 25. So, like, you're still in that immature, still got like what's the word? Until you're 25, they just basically say that you haven't fully developed maturity until then. So, like, right now we're developing. We're not fully cooked adults yet.
Fully cooked.
But maybe we'll be soon.
Okay, fair enough. Well, so that's going to be our episode today. We're going to talk a little bit about lifestyle, health and beauty, but just overall kind of, I guess, the main differences and a bit of advice that we've learned along the way. So this episode really, it's not just from anywhere between 18 to 23. If you're a teenager and you're listening and you're interested, please follow along. We've got some really good points to make. But also if you are past the age of 25 and you have developed your frontal lobe, or I know that we have some more mature age listeners, it would be really nice to sort of hear your opinions and your thoughts on it. So please reach out and let us know what you have to say about today's episode. But with that said, let's get started with our instant tea.
I love how we're just staring at each other like, who's going to go first?
You can go first.
All right, I'll go first. Okay, guys, I feel like my instant tea for this week just fully relates to this episode. Basically, I have had like just a string of unfortunate events lately. Like, things just keep happening to me. Every single time someone catches up with me, they're like, what's new? And I'm like, boy, do I have some stories to tell you. Basically, last Thursday, I was like at work doing a little bit of driving around, just doing some tasks for my boss. And luckily, I'd already finished the tasks, but I go to get in my car to go back to work to do some like emails, bit of admin. And I tried to put my clutch in and it literally just like broke. I drive a manual car, obviously, and you can't drive your car without a clutch. And it literally, I don't even know how it happened, but I just pressed my foot in and suddenly it was like, it just wasn't doing anything anymore. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Anyway, I had to call like roadside assistance. They came really quickly. They were like, oh, not that I know much about cars, but they were like, I think it was called a clutch slave cylinder. Learn something new. Your car's just kind of spilled its guts. That was how he described it to me. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, it's just like fallen out. And I was like, I was driving my car 5 minutes ago. How does it just fall apart? That makes no sense to me. Anyway, so my car had to get towed. First time for that. But I was really proud of myself. And I called Ash and I was like, I didn't have a mental breakdown. I just laughed about it and just went with the flow. Because Ash knows that this would have sent me, like, usually. It would have triggered me so bad that I probably would have just ended up in a ball crying on the floor instead of organising to get my car towed. But yeah, honestly, it was the best case scenario of how it could have happened because I was in a car park when it happened. My car was like looked at and towed within 1 hour and the mechanics fixed it within 4 hours, which I thought was like incredibly impressive. I'm one of those girls who just goes, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Like your car's lights are literally on being like, I need to be fixed. And you're like, oh, I should.
You just leave the engine light on for like 5 years and then your dad's finally like, hey, this isn't normal.
I'm one of those girls. And my dad's always like, you need to get a car service. You need to do this. And I kind of just keep letting it go and hope for the best and just like act positive. And yeah, obviously it's kind of my own fault that my car's gone and fallen apart. So I couldn't really get upset about it. But anyway, proud of myself for how I handled that situation.
I am proud of you as well because I am always discussing with people linear thinking and looking on the bright side. Obviously, there's just going to be shitty things that happen that we can't control. But I feel like for the most part, linear thinking and just knowing how to there's like a truck backing up. in the street. We'll discuss this a little bit more later because I do have some points to raise. Actually, you know what? I'm going to write myself a note right now because, Kills, you have inspired me. All this typing is so satisfying.
That's literally what we spoke about in the last episode. I was like, if I haven't written it down, it's not going to happen and I'll forget about it. See? Notes.
My tea actually happened this morning. So for our recordings, we actually have to wake up quite early and I am not a morning person. So Keely is usually calling me, texting me, like, wake up, like, let's get this started. Anyway, so I'm laying in bed. I can see her messages coming through and I'm like, ignore, snooze that alarm. Like, I need 20 more minutes. And then the loudspeaker, so I live in an apartment complex, the loudspeakers come up and it says, an emergency evacuation drill is happening now. Please don't exit the building. Really loud, like on the speakers in my bedroom. And then this whole this alarm starts going off. And I was just thinking to myself, has Keely sent this to my building? Of all mornings that it could have happened, it's happening when I'm here. Like, I need to get out of bed to do something. So at that point, I was like, all right, I guess I've got to get up, get my day started.
Well, I'm glad your house didn't burn down, but in saying that, let's get into today's episode. Okay, wait, I have a juicy one to start off with. I want to know what your thoughts are on. Okay, so this is something I've been thinking about for a while now, but like, obviously, as you get a bit older, you start to look at other people's little babies and seeing people get pregnant, and you're like, oh, that's so cute. Like, you get a little bit clucky, but here at 23 years old, and I've had this conversation with people that are like late 20s, but if I was to get pregnant right now accidentally, it would actually be teen pregnancy. Nothing has changed, but however young I was, and now if I got pregnant right now, I would freak out so much and probably like cry to my mum and be like, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. Like, I would be so scared. And yeah, it would be teen pregnancy. But anyway, how do you feel about that?
I get what you mean because I still feel like a baby some days. I'm like, I couldn't take care of a child, let alone my own self. But the last few weeks, I have been obsessed with babies. But especially right now, I am just like, every baby I see, I'm like, I want you. I want you so bad, especially the ones in the onesies.
Oh,
When they're in the onesies, oh my God, it kills me. Like, whenever we're in Target and we're shopping and I just walk past the baby section, they've got like the smallest little onesies in the world. Like, I am dying on the inside. But I get what you mean. I think it's also the kind of age where, I don't know, I feel like there's still so much that I want to achieve.
absolutely.
And I'm not ready for kids, but they're just so cute. But I still feel like a baby. And I feel like if it was happened tomorrow and I was like announcing it, it would feel so scandalous.
I agree. I still feel like people would probably be like, oh my God, Kelly's pregnant. That's crazy. Like, she shouldn't be pregnant. Like, I don't know. It just probably give me like 4 more years and then it's not teen pregnancy. But then again, who knows what's going to happen in 4 years? Maybe it will still feel that way.
But that's funny that you mentioned that because I've been eyeing off the babies. Like, yeah, dogs, babies. I'm like, I just want something. I want like a little person.
Just want to look after something. Aw.
Anyway, I feel like since we just kind of talked about like maturity and like babies, some more serious stuff, I want to talk about clubbing for a quick second.
Speaking of babies, drinks.
We feel like teenagers if we were to get pregnant now, but I feel like when I go out to a nightclub, I am a grandma. I'm literally like 80 years old just standing in the club partying and I feel like I'm not meant to be there. It feels illegal.
No, I know what you mean. I feel like, a little while ago, my friend and I just randomly went out because it was like a public holiday and we were like, ooh, scandalous, Sunday night clubbing, let's go. And we went and it was all like little children. And I was like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. And you know when like an 18-year-old hits on you, like I'm like, you're probably still in high school, like back off.
I know
This
exactly
is
what
wrong.
you mean. I feel like for me, I am such a dinner and cocktails kind of girl. And then maybe Keely and I are always like, let's go for a quick dance. And then we go to the nightclub and I'm like, we're so old, dude. I'm like, we should not be here right now.
No, Ash and I love going for a cheeky dance after cocktails. We always have the best time. I feel like whenever we plan like a full-on night out with like a group of people, it never ends well. But when it's just her and I, like without a doubt, we have the best time ever. We love going to like this one nightclub in Sydney, which just so happens to be the one that both of us met our partners in. So obviously it's a special place for us. But we love going there, and they actually play really good music, and it's like really pretty. We went there at the end of the year last year, and we were dressed in like full on sparkly heels and like long skirts, and looked more like we probably should have been sitting at like a fancy bar. And we have never gotten more looks in our life. Maybe they thought we were just like a bit crazy dressing up like that to go to the clubs. I don't know. But we were like, ooh, like dressing a bit more sophisticated for the nightclub. I thought it was really interesting though. It was almost like a bit of an experiment, because like when you're a bit younger and you're single, like your first thought is like, yeah, like let's dress in like short dresses and like get the titties out. Like everyone always just thinks to go a little bit more like scandalous with the out. I'm gonna say usually when you're single, you're like, yeah, like dress like that. But I gotta say, hot tip for the single girlies, dress a little bit more like you're going to a bar or like a fancy dinner or something like that. See how many guys turn their head at you. I feel like that is literally a life hack.
I have like 2 points in one that I really want to raise while we're still on the clubbing subject, but I feel like before I just mentioned I really prefer a bar or like a dinner, like somewhere where you can sort of be like a little bit more intimate with people or have a conversation. I just can't get around the dancing in like a sweaty nightclub, like every single weekend. It's fun to sort of do every now and again. Like I need to have already had a few drinks and then be like, let's go to the club, let's do a quick dance just for like a lol. Yeah, I don't know. And I see people my age still that are in nightclubs every single weekend, and I'm like, what are you doing with your time? Like, have you not got anything else better to do? For me, it's like a funny thing. Like, let's go for a quick dance.
Yeah.
This is what I look forward to every single week.
This is my pastime. I agree. It's really interesting. Like, obviously, like we always talk about timelines and like how everybody's at their own stage in life, but it's so weird being this age because some people are still like in that mentality and some people are married with kids. Like, it's just crazy. But speaking of alcohol, at 18, I could drink so much or like mixed drinks, like literally not go to bed, not drink water, and I'd be fine. I'd bounce back the next day. Like I could just do whatever I wanted. But the second that I hit, I'm going to say 21, I remember my 21st birthday, I mixed drinks. I woke up the next morning, like I didn't even have that much. And I was like so unwell. And ever since then, every time I've gone out, I can't have more than like 3 drinks now. Like alcohol literally hates me and I get so sick. But yeah, alcohol is disgusting and I hate it. Speaking of like late nights and stuff though, Ash and I have like, when she was saying about being grandmas, like we love being in bed by like 8 p.m, rugged up with our little hoodies on. Like I just love going to bed early. Like 9 p.m.'s late for me.
I feel like I like being at home. I like going out and doing stuff, but I feel so good on a Friday night or even a Saturday night just rugging up on the couch with a good movie and like snacks. It just, for me, it can't get better than that.
I totally agree. And honestly, that's our favorite way to spend time together. Like we just love having a sleepover, chucking on the Eras tour. Sorry, we can't go an episode without talking about Taylor Swift. Like this is like a thing now. Anyway, moving on. We love chucking on the Eras tour, having some popcorn, grabbing some chocolate, cuddling up with her puppy on the couch. Like that is our absolute favorite thing to do, to hang out. And I feel like as you get older, you value that like more calm, quiet time in general.
I know we just touched on this before, but I really wanted to talk about the main difference I have learned since being 23 is my fashion.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months, I don't know what it is, but my fashion has done a complete 180, and I went through my entire closet. We were on FaceTime one day and we we're both throwing out all of our crop tops, corsets, like, you know what kind of outfits I'm talking about. I think for me, how I have changed also reflects so much on my fashion and what I look like.
No, I agree with that. I think it's really interesting for me. I feel like our fashion journey's been quite different, but like I used to like in high school be that super like beachy, just beach vibes. I don't know how to describe it other than that. And then like when I moved and in my different relationship, I feel like I became someone who I like didn't want to be and like who I wasn't. And like that honestly did align with my fashion. But now that I've feel like in the last 6 months I've really like transformed and just like done a lot of inner work. I've kind of gone back to like who I was, but just like a more mature version of it. It's really weird to explain, but like now I'm like super, I mean, you can see it right now. I'm wearing like my pearl necklaces, my pearl earrings, and I love having like my beach waves and like shorts and stuff again. Like, I don't know. It's just been really interesting. I feel like that comes into like the whole like losing and finding yourself again. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's just something that I've reflected on with my clothing and even my hair. Like I dyed my hair brown because somebody told me that, oh, you'd look better as a brunette. And I think like they just said that their type's brunette. And I feel like a lot of girls can relate. When you're in them amongst it, even if it's a situationship, you tend to just do things that the other person like. Ever since coming out of that, like it's just so interesting how my fashion sense and the way that I style myself, the way I do my hair, like going back to being a little bit of a lighter blonde, like all of that has kind of coordinated with that change in my life. So yes,
Dressing more comfortably, like I know we spoke about before, going out into nightclubs, like wearing like little outfits. I feel as though it's kind of something for more of an attention sort of thing. For me, I'm not dressing for attention. For me, I'm purchasing things that are staples instead of fast fashion, and that's something that I feel the biggest difference in myself is that I'm not looking in these clothing stores that are just off-season random things
oh my gosh,
or on sale racks. I feel like I'm someone that's going to more mature stores.
I was
Exactly.
about to say that.
Keely and I were planning for this episode, and I just knew that we were
Sales.
looking at the same sort of picture. I'm looking for things that are staples in my wardrobe that I can rewear again and again and again and hold its integrity.
No, I totally agree with that. And then I feel like this transitions really well into one of the points that I wanted to talk about, just with money and spending. When we were younger, like, oh my God, we frothed Boxing Day sale. Like we would go shopping and buy like anything from Super that was like $2 just because it was $2. Like, because you just wanted to buy so many things to have, I guess, to have options, but also just because we loved a good sale. I don't look at the price of things anymore. If I'm going shopping, I honestly don't even look at the sale rack. It's very rare for me to walk over to it now because I already know in the back of my head, nothing in it's going to fit me because it's either going to be really, really tiny or really, really big. Like it's never in between. It's always going to be like something that's out of fashion because nobody wanted to buy it, or it doesn't actually fit my body properly. Once again, because nobody wanted to buy it. So like I will always go to a store only ever in my head. I honestly don't even go shopping anymore. Like if I need something, like for example, right now, I really want to get a black quarter zip jumper. I've been looking at a bunch of stores, looking at different prices, figuring out like maybe what style suits me best. And now I've waited for the right time to buy it from the right store. It just so happens to be end of financial year sale. So now I've been able to get like a sale out of it, except it's something I've been like looking at for ages. I'm not just going out and buying random things because I want heaps of clothing in my wardrobe. And like I used to just love having heaps of stuff. And then Ash went through this period of time where she was like becoming more of a minimalist. And I honestly took so much inspiration from that because I was like, so true. You don't need heaps of stuff. Like you honestly don't. And you can always mix and match outfits and whatnot. But yeah, staples are so good. And like Ash said, if it's going to last a really long time, like that's all you need. And I love buying really pretty dresses now. That's something I never used to think about because I was always like corset tops. I love going on like Billie J and all of those really like pretty boutique websites and just purchasing. They are really expensive to be fair, but just like a really nice dress that I know that's going to get me through multiple occasions, and you just feel so much better in what you're wearing and it's comfy. But
What you were just talking about before is that my older sister taught me buy it right or buy it twice. I'm not sure what the saying is. I know some people say buy it nice or buy it twice, but I think that applies for clothing. I think that applies for appliances, bedding, linen, any kind of stuff, homewares. And I have noticed since I moved out of home and have been purchasing every single thing for myself, buy it right or buy it twice. And I think that's a really important thing to know, that you're putting your money towards something that isn't going to break, that's not going to be flimsy.
no, I totally agree with that. I actually spent a lot of money on like my first fridge, my first couch. I went and bought, I think the brand's called DeLonghi, but like if you go to the Good Guys, you can buy some really, really nice kettles and toasters that are just like the best quality. They have warranty. Like Kmart doesn't really have warranty. Like if something breaks, like you're going to be able to get it fixed and things like that. And it's just like a lot more sleek looking, and you're probably going to have it for like 8 years maybe. That's a random guess, but like you're going to have it for like a long time rather than just like kind of having a Kmart thing that's going to break within 6 months. I actually have a point to do with that. One thing I probably would recommend to anybody that's moving out of home for the first time with roommates, don't buy the good quality stuff then. Wait until you're actually going to stay put, because people will break your shit.
Or buy your own things. If you are wanting to buy nice things, buy it yourself and say, this is mine. Because when you leave, and there will come a day where you leave because you're not going to be bonded with this person and live with them for the rest of your life, you know what's yours, what's that. When I lived with my roommates, I bought the couches, I bought the TV, I bought the coffee table, and I knew what was mine in that house, so that when I moved out,
Yeah, I
these
totally
were my
agree.
couches, we didn't go thirds in this, we didn't go halves in this is mine, that's yours.
Yeah, no, 100%. And honestly, I would even go as far as to say the same thing. If you're moving in with a partner for the first time, but like it's still fresh, my advice would be to still have your own things until you're like, yep, we're staying together forever. Because honestly, from my perspective, it is incredibly hard if you're going through a breakup or even a friendship breakup with roommates to then amicably try to sell things or figure out who's going to keep what when you're in the middle of a fight. Like I've been there. Like it's shit. So like have your own stuff until you're like ready to kind of start actually settling down and you're heading towards, I can't even say that we're mature, but like just when you'll know in your own self when you're like, yep, this is what I'm sticking with and this is what's for me. Because like, yeah, it's just not worth spending lots and lots of money on expensive things to then just have to like go through a whole thing later. Or like I said, if you're with roommates and you've got expensive things in the house, if someone breaks it, you're going to be pissed. And it has happened to me. I had to replace a washing machine and it was really expensive. So take a page out of my book. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I had so much fun doing this. I'm really looking forward to doing a part 2. But like you guys know, we can ramble on forever about topics.
Thank you so much for spending your Monday morning with us, or wherever you might be during the week. If it's a weekend, I don't know when you listen to your podcast, but we will be back in your ears same time next week. Bye.
Bye.